Chapter 1. The illusion of romantic dependence. Let's start with the lie most men are raised on. The one whispered through movies, romantic comedies, love songs, and every broken friend who fell too hard, too fast. If you love her enough, if you show her your heart, if you give her everything, she'll stay. But here's the truth. She doesn't love you because you're always available. She doesn't love you because you're sweet. She doesn't love you because you would do anything for her. She loves you because you don't need her. And that one idea, that you can desire her deeply but live fully without her, is the core of masculine freedom. It's the antidote to the modern disease of weak men craving feminine approval. From the time we're boys, we're fed a blueprint for failure. Be nice, be available, be sensitive, chase her, validate her, prove yourself. So what do? We learn to perform. We edit our truth to be liked. We smile when we want to speak up. We chase her attention like a starving dog hoping for scraps of affection. And when she pulls away, we fall apart. We start overanalyzing every word she said. We send one more text. We apologize for things we didn't even do. Because the fear of losing her is stronger than the belief in ourselves. And that, brother, is bondage. That is emotional slavery. That is weakness wearing the mask of romance. Here's the Stoic truth. Need is not love. Need is attachment. And attachment is rooted in fear, not in power, not in freedom, not in virtue. Marcus Aurelius didn't wake up wondering if someone would text him back. Epictetus didn't fall into despair because a woman pulled away. These were men who understood that freedom begins within. That peace isn't something you find in a partner, it's something you build in solitude. The man who needs a woman to feel whole is already broken, not because love is weakness, but because love without self-mastery becomes a prison. And you can't lead from a prison. You can't be respected from a place of emotional begging. You can't be admired when your strength is dependent on her presence. Let's go deeper. Have you ever felt that pit in your stomach when she starts acting distant? That anxious need to fix it, that subtle panic that maybe she's losing interest. That's not love, that's addiction. That's your inner boy screaming, "Don't leave me, I don't know who I am without you." Now ask yourself this, who are you without her eyes on you? Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when the bed is cold and the phone is silent? Because that's the man she actually falls for, the one who doesn't vanish when she does. You think she wants your affection. She wants your center. You think she wants your time. She wants your presence. You think she wants your obedience. She wants your strength. Look around your life right now. Are you sacrificing your purpose for her approval? Are you abandoning your mission to make her stay? Are you giving more than she respects, just to be loved? If the answer is yes, then you're not in a relationship. You're in an emotional hostage situation, and you're the one holding the gun to your own head. The Stoics taught that we should love, but never lose ourselves in the loving. They taught us to remain autonomous, even in connection. That doesn't mean being cold. That doesn't mean playing games. It means staying rooted in who you are, even when who you are isn't enough for her. That's the ultimate strength. Let me paint a picture for you. Two men love the same woman. One wakes up each day checking her socials, overthinking her silences, adjusting who he is to match what he thinks she wants. He's emotional, responsive, attentive, desperate. The other, he wakes up, meditates, journals, trains, eats clean, handles his business. He sends her love, not from fear, but from overflow. And if she pulls back, he doesn't chase. He observes. He doesn't beg. He builds. Guess who she craves? Not the one who tries the hardest, but the one who knows how to be alone and chooses her anyway. That's power. That's stoic masculinity. That's the man who walks into a room without saying a word and is felt. So here's your challenge. For 1 week, act like the man who doesn't need her, not in anger, not in ego, but from the truth that your life was whole before she came and will be whole if she leaves. And if you do this, if you really lean into that inner power, you'll stop wondering if she loves you, because you'll finally realize she doesn't love the version of you that clings. She loves the man who doesn't need her to be complete. And that man is rare, and women never forget a rare man. Chapter 2. The power of indifference. Let's talk about the most misunderstood trait in modern masculinity: indifference. To the average man, it sounds cold, detached, cruel, something heartless men use to play games or manipulate. But to the Stoic, indifference is not heartlessness, it's sovereignty. It is the ability to feel emotions without becoming enslaved by them, to remain steady, centered, and unshaken, regardless of the chaos around you. Because here's the raw truth: most men are not rejected because they're not attractive. They're rejected because they're too available, too reactive, too dependent. And nothing signals emotional weakness louder than a man who loses his composure every time she pulls back. The man who's mastered indifference doesn't panic when her energy shifts. He doesn't chase when her attention fades. He doesn't crumble when her interest dips. Why? Because he isn't playing to keep her. He's playing to keep himself, his peace, his focus, his frame. He's not trying to win her over. He's trying to stay anchored in his own mission, whether she stays or not. He's not invested in controlling her behavior. He's invested in controlling his response. That's not coldness, that's discipline. And in a world full of emotionally unstable men, that kind of self-command is rare and magnetic. Let's look at the difference. A needy man interprets her silence as a threat. He spirals, he overthinks, he texts, then double texts. He rewrites their last conversation in his head 1,000 times. He loses sleep trying to decode her energy. Why? Because her attention has become his oxygen. He can't breathe without it. But a Stoic man? He notices the shift, but he doesn't lose his rhythm. He observes, not obsesses. He steps back, not forward. He gets quieter, not louder. Because he's not addicted to her presence, and he's not afraid of her absence. That's real power. Let's go even deeper. Indifference, at its core, is rooted in detachment from outcome. The Stoics called it apatheia, not in the modern sense of not caring, but in the ancient sense of not being enslaved by external things. What does that mean for you? It means if she loves you, you stay grounded. If she leaves you, you stay grounded. If she praises you, criticizes you, pulls away, leans in, you remain centered. That doesn't mean you don't feel. It means your emotions don't hijack your identity. And that, ironically, is what draws her in. You become a mystery. She wonders why you're not reacting like the others. She questions how you can remain so still when she's throwing emotional waves your way. You force her to lean in. You invite her to earn your vulnerability, not because you're withholding, but because you respect yourself. You're not giving her unlimited access to your emotional world. You're allowing her to enter once she proves she can hold space for it. That's not arrogance. That's emotional leadership. Here's what most men miss. Women crave emotional depth, yes, but only when it comes from a man who has boundaries around it. If you give it too soon, without structure, without inner strength, she doesn't feel safe. She feels burdened. She doesn't want a sponge. She wants a rock, a calm, present, powerful man who is capable of feeling, but not ruled by it. A man who listens more than he speaks, who smiles at her tests instead of defending himself, who lets her come and go without punishing her emotionally, because he knows his peace is not up for negotiation. Let's flip the lens for a second. Think of the most attractive men you've seen walk into a room, the ones who don't try too hard, but own the space. They're not loud, they're not flexing, they're not desperate for approval. They're simply present, with a subtle indifference that says, I'm good with or without you. And that energy, it hypnotizes, because it signals one thing: I am whole. So ask yourself right now, do you need her energy to feel validated? Do you overreact when she withdraws, hoping to pull her back? Do you change your mood based on her mood? Or can you remain unmoved, even when her energy tests you? Can you remain calm, even when her behavior is unpredictable? Can you hold your ground, not as a tactic, but as your nature? Because once you master that, she no longer controls the frame, you do. And if she walks away, you don't collapse. You nod, breathe, and return to your purpose. Because her departure cannot disrupt a man who has already found himself. Indifference isn't about detachment from people. It's about detachment from dependence on them. And that, my brother, is when you become powerful. Not because you don't love, but because you've learned how to love, without losing yourself in the process. Chapter 3. The weight of her respect. Let's lay down something real simple. A woman cannot love a man she doesn't respect. You can shower her with affection. You can give her the world. You can stay up late talking about your childhood, open up about your fears, cry in her arms. And none of it will matter if deep down she doesn't respect who you are as a man. Because respect is the foundation. Respect is the gateway. Respect is the glue that holds feminine love in place when attraction fades, when life gets messy, when emotions run cold. Without it, love dies. But here's the part most men never hear. You don't earn her respect by giving more. You earn it by giving less, but giving it from strength. Less chasing, less validation, less apologizing for being a man. You earn her respect when your yes means yes and your no means no. You earn her respect when you're unshakable in chaos, calm in crisis, and firm in your convictions. She respects a man who doesn't flinch when she's emotional. She respects a man who doesn't fold when she tests his limits. She respects a man who can be kind, but never weak. You see, a man who bends too far to keep her only ends up snapping in half. Let me tell you something you already know, but maybe haven't fully faced. She will test you. She will challenge your boundaries. She will poke at your insecurities. She will push just hard enough to see what you're made of. Not because she's cruel, but because her biology demands that she find a man who's stronger than her storms. And when she sees that you can't stand firm, she loses trust. Not always consciously, not always immediately, but that switch flips. And when it does, you'll feel it. The tone changes, the energy dies, the respect fades. And without respect, everything becomes transactional. You give more, hoping she'll love you like before. You sacrifice your needs, hoping she'll return the energy. But all she feels is the weight of a man who has lost his edge. Now let me be clear. This isn't about being an alpha caricature. This isn't about domination. This isn't about posturing. This is about one thing. Being so grounded in who you are that no woman, no mood, no relationship, no argument can pull you off center. Because that's when she can relax. That's when she feels safe. That's when she knows, I can trust this man to lead. I can trust this man with my heart. I can follow this man into the fire. That trust doesn't come from you being perfect. It comes from you being consistent. It comes from you standing tall when it would be easier to shrink. Look at your past relationships. Were you respected? Did she look at you like a man she could follow? Or did she manage the relationship while you tiptoed around her mood swings? Here's the truth. Respect is lost the moment she has to lead. And if you hand over that role, even in subtle ways, she'll start to resent you. Because women don't want to carry the masculine burden. They're not wired for it. They will do it if they must, but they'll never love you the same once they do. Let's bring it back to Stoicism. The Stoics believed that a man's first duty was to himself, to live in accordance with nature, to pursue virtue, to speak truth and walk in integrity. You don't earn her respect by trying to be what she wants. You earn it by being what life demands. And if she respects that version of you, great. If she doesn't, you let her go. Because the moment you break yourself to fit someone else's mold, you lose the one thing that made you worthy of respect in the first place, your self-possession. So ask yourself right now, do I set boundaries or do I avoid conflict to keep the peace? Do I speak my truth or do I filter it to be liked? Do I allow disrespect to slide because I'm afraid of losing her? Because every time you shrink yourself to avoid her disapproval, you teach her one thing. I am not a man worth following, and she'll believe you. Let me be brutally honest. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to posture or pretend. You just need to stand. Stand in your values. Stand in your mission. Stand in your truth. If she stays, let it be because she sees your spine, not because she sees your need. If she walks, let it be because you were too rooted to bend into something you're not. Because when you build your life on the foundation of respect for yourself, you become the kind of man who earns it from others without ever asking. Chapter 4. Love without need. The Stoic path to desire. Let's make something clear right out of the gate. Need is not love, and love is not need. Most modern men have been taught the opposite. They think needing someone proves how much they love them. They believe that longing, obsession, dependency are all signs of romantic devotion. But that's not love. That's weakness dressed in poetic language. Real love, the kind that inspires desire, admiration, and lasting connection, comes not from dependence, but from freedom. Think about it. What's more powerful? A man who loves a woman because she fills a void in his soul, or a man who loves her from a place of fullness, who doesn't need her to validate him, fix him, or complete him? One is drowning. The other is swimming by choice. The first grabs onto her like a lifeline. The second offers his strength, not because he's empty, but because he's overflowing. The Stoics understood this better than most. They didn't say, "Don't love." They said, "Don't let love make you a slave." Because when love turns into addiction, when your identity depends on her affection, when your emotions are chained to her attention, you are no longer a man. You are a captive. Let me paint a scenario you've probably lived through or seen. You meet a woman, you hit it off. At first, you're centered, confident, detached. You're focused on your mission. You take your time replying. You keep your standards high. And guess what? She's obsessed. She initiates. She leans in. She respects your space because she feels your wholeness. She feels your lack of need. But then, somewhere along the way, you shift. You start checking your phone every 5 minutes. You start skipping workouts to call her. You start letting things slide because you don't want to lose her. Now she doesn't feel the same gravity because your strength is fading, your boundaries are bending, your power is leaking, and she pulls back. Not because she's cruel, but because she no longer feels safe in your frame. The very thing that drew her to you, your autonomy, your purpose, your edge, disappeared the moment you started needing her. This is the paradox of desire. The more you need her, the less she wants you. The less you need her, the more she wants to stay. Not because you're cold, but because emotional independence is the most attractive energy a man can radiate. The Stoic man doesn't detach out of ego. He detaches out of clarity. He knows that true desire is a gift, not a trade. It's not, "I need you, so I'll love you." It's, "I don't need you, and I still choose to love you." That's powerful, that's rare, and that's irresistible. Now let's go practical. How do you build love without need? You build a life that is fulfilling without her. You master your mornings. You pursue a purpose that sets your soul on fire. You move your body, train your mind, protect your peace. You build a system so complete that her presence becomes a beautiful addition, not a requirement. You journal. You meditate. You surround yourself with men who hold you accountable. You build a fortress around your inner world so solid that no woman, no matter how beautiful, seductive, or emotionally intoxicating, can breach it unless she's earned her way in. And even then, you remain whole, because the moment she senses that you need her to be okay, her attraction starts to bleed out, quietly, slowly, but surely. Ask yourself, if she walked away today, would my mission change? If she ignored me for a week, would my confidence collapse? If she stopped validating me, would I still validate myself? Because if the answer is no, you haven't built love. You've built emotional dependency. And Stoic men don't live in dependency. They live in freedom. Here's what happens when you love without need. You stop chasing. You stop overthinking. You stop clinging to her attention like a drug. And in that stillness, she starts leaning in again. She feels your self-respect. She sees that you don't fear her absence, which makes your presence feel stronger. Because you are not controlled by her emotions. You are not moved by her mood swings. You are not owned by her availability. You are the mountain. She is the weather. She can change every hour. And you remain rooted. That's what makes a woman feel safe. That's what creates real desire. That's what builds love that lasts. Not from need, but from freedom. So repeat this to yourself daily. I do not need her. I choose her. And that choice? That's where your power lives. Chapter 5. The moment she realizes you're not like the others. There's a moment. It doesn't happen immediately. It doesn't happen on the first date or even the second, but it does come. And when it does, you'll feel everything shift. It's the moment she realizes, you're not like the others. She's not sure why. She can't quite explain it. But something about the way you move, the way you speak, the way you don't flinch when she pulls back, it tells her something loud, even though you've said nothing at all. You're not desperate. You're not playing a role. You're not chasing her. You're just being. And that stillness, that inner strength, she's never felt that before. Most men break under pressure. She doesn't text back. They spiral. She gives attitude. They try to fix it. She challenges their boundaries. They shrink. And she knows this pattern well. She's used to being the one who sets the emotional tempo. But with you, she tests and gets no rise. She pulls back, and you don't chase. She pushes, and you stand firm. Now she's curious, intrigued. She leans in, not because you demanded it, but because you didn't. That's when she realizes, this man doesn't orbit around me. He orbits around himself. And that's attractive in a way she hasn't experienced before. Let's break this down deeper. In every dynamic, there's a question being asked, usually unspoken. Who is leading this interaction? Most men, out of fear of loss, give that power away immediately. They're too agreeable, too eager, too accommodating. They mirror her mood. They adapt to her expectations. They abandon their own standards just to keep her attention. But you hold your ground. And that alone sends a message. You're free to be here. But I'll be exactly the same whether you stay or not. She won't admit it out loud. But that energy, it grounds her. Because now she's not dealing with a man trying to win her. She's dealing with a man who's already won himself. This isn't about power games. This isn't about manipulation. This is about being so deeply connected to your core values that you don't shift based on what she's doing. It's about letting her feel your center, not through aggression, not through passivity, but through unwavering presence. You don't rush, you don't chase, you don't perform. You simply allow your energy to speak, and it says, I've already done the work. I've already found my fire. You can join me or you can walk away, but I'm not going to collapse either way. So how does she respond? She starts testing less. She starts respecting more. She stops managing the dynamic and starts flowing in it. She's not used to that. She's used to being in control. She's used to feeling like the prize. And here you are, calm, composed, quietly powerful, not arrogant, not dismissive, just unmoved. And suddenly, she has to question everything she thought she knew about men. You've broken the mold. And when that realization lands, desire is reborn, not out of novelty, but out of awe. Here's where most men blow it. They taste this power, and then they ruin it with ego. They get cocky. They start trying to act alpha. They become rigid, performative, and emotionally unavailable. That's not what she wants. What she wants is realness, stillness. A man who isn't performing confidence, but who is confidence. There's no need to dominate her. Just dominate yourself. There's no need to handle her. Just handle your own energy and let her respond however she needs to. And when she does, when she lets go of the games, when she finally surrenders to your frame, it's not because you controlled her, it's because you mastered you. Ask yourself, do I lead the emotional tone of my relationships? Do I hold my standards even when desire tempts me to bend them? Do I make women feel that I'm rooted in something deeper than their attention? Because when you do, they'll never forget you. You won't be the nice guy. You won't be the rebound. You'll be the man she still thinks about years later. Why? Because you weren't like the others. You were you. Chapter 6. Let her go, even if she stays. Here's the paradox that will set you free as a man. You must be willing to let her go, even if she's still in your bed, still in your arms, still smiling at you. Because love built on the fear of loss isn't love. It's slavery. And most men live like slaves in their relationships, afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of taking up too much space, afraid that one misstep will cost them her affection. So they tiptoe, they censor, they betray themselves, all for a little more time in her presence. But the Stoic man, he does the opposite. He lets her go, even while she stays. He loves her deeply, but lightly. He enjoys her presence, but doesn't grip it. He gives his heart, but not his soul, because his soul is already spoken for. It belongs to his purpose, his virtue, his mission. Most men get trapped after they win the girl. They stop leading. They stop growing. They stop evolving. They confuse comfort for connection. They think her physical closeness equals emotional commitment. They assume that because she's there, she'll stay. But women don't stay for comfort. They stay for certainty. Not the kind you project on Instagram, not the kind that flexes on first dates, the kind that radiates from a man who knows, deep in his bones, that he doesn't need anyone to complete him, because the man who can let her go at any moment is the man who becomes irreplaceable. Let's be clear, this doesn't mean pushing her away. This doesn't mean being cold or emotionally distant. It means this: you are fully present, but never dependent. You are fully loving, but never losing yourself. You are fully available, but never abandoning your path. And if she ever asks for you to betray who you are to keep her, you don't argue, you don't plead, you don't justify. You simply step aside and let her leave, because your values are not negotiable, your soul is not for sale, and your masculinity is not up for compromise. And here's what happens when you live this way. She relaxes. Because for the first time, she's not being held like a possession. She's being invited like an equal. She's not being clung to. She's being chosen. And that, my brother, is everything. Because when a woman feels your willingness to walk away, she leans in harder, not because she's afraid, but because she trusts you. She knows you won't fake it. She knows you won't tolerate disrespect. She knows you're not staying because you're scared to start over. You're staying because you want to. And that's what makes her want to stay too. Let's take it further. Most men only love as long as they're being loved back. The moment she's moody, the moment she pulls away, the moment she challenges his ego, he punishes her emotionally. He withdraws his presence. He starts acting out like a child who didn't get his favorite toy. But the Stoic man? He loves without demand. He shows up without entitlement. He gives from abundance, not scarcity. And if she starts to drift, he doesn't chase, he doesn't beg. He watches, he listens, he evaluates. And if her path no longer aligns with his, he lets her go, not with resentment, but with reverence. Because he understands. The love that requires you to betray yourself isn't love, it's bondage, and he's a man of freedom. Ask yourself, can I love her without needing her? Can I hold her without gripping her? Can I be fully present while still being fully committed to my purpose? Because if you can, you've entered a different league of masculinity, one that's not built on control, but on clarity, one that's not powered by desire, but by discipline, one that doesn't cling to love, but attracts it and keeps it through the strength of presence. So let her go, even if she's standing right in front of you, even if she's laughing at your jokes, even if she's wearing your hoodie, let her be free. And in doing so, you will become the man she can finally trust, because she'll know you don't need her to be whole, you already are. Now ask yourself one last time, if she left today, would I still walk with the same posture? If she stopped admiring me, would I still admire myself? If this ended tomorrow, would I still be proud of how I showed up? Because if the answer is yes, you're not in fear, you're not in bondage, you're not chasing, you're leading. And that, my brother, is what makes a man truly irresistible. He doesn't need her, but she still wants no one else.